Today, we're going to turn this chicken stock into this chicken consommé, using nothing but an ice cube tray and a pour-over coffee setup, filter, and pot. So this is a continuation of that Chris Young video. This stock here is Instant Pot stock. It's the second or third batch I've made. It's beautiful. It was crystal clear. I let it sit and I didn't open that valve early, and it did get rid of a lot of those solids. So thank you to everyone who pointed that out. There's a little bit of fat at the top, and I don't really want to wait for it to set and scrape it off. So I'm going to get past that, and I'm just going to use a turkey baster, and I'm going to go down and grab that, and we're going to fill this ice cube tray. And then step one is to just let these become meat stock, chicken stock ice cubes. Once I got this baster down past the chicken fat, I just filled these up as evenly as I could. You don't really need to do any specific amount in here. As long as they are frozen, you should be totally fine. Trying not to make a mess all over your counter, but as you can see, I filled up this whole tray with about half of that quart container and still had plenty of stock left over. All right, so here we are about 5-6 hours later. I really let these sit in the freezer. They are nice and solid now. The interesting thing is they're a little they're not soft, but they feel waxy from all that gelatin. Here's the actual stock from the Instant Pot. Some of you were wondering. As you can see, it is very gelatinous. It's not liquidy, so that Instant Pot extracts all that good collagen, turns it into gelatin. It is not a watery stock. So that's kind of what you need to make this successful. So you got your ice cubes now. All you need next is a pour over coffee setup. We have the filter here. You have a little carafe here. Normally you would pour the hot water in. This one comes with a little extra filter, so I'm going to use that also. But all we're going to do is load up these ice cubes into it, and we're going to let them thaw, and the good consommé will drip out and the gelatin will stay behind. So I'm going to load this up, show it to you, and then we're going to throw it into the fridge. There you go. So that's what I'm going to put in it for right now. I'm going to let this sit in the fridge overnight and do its thing. We're going to see how much these cubes yield. If, as I see them melt, there's not enough, I'm just going to add in more. We have a whole tray worth, which was about a pint of stock, so that should yield hopefully half volume in consommé. We'll find out. I guess that's also part of the experiment here, but I'll see you guys in the morning after this all drains through, and hopefully we'll have beautiful, clear consommé with a little bit of gelatin left in the top. All right, so here we are just about 15 hours later. It might even be 16 hours later. I put it into the fridge last night at 7 p.m. and it is 11 a.m. the next morning. In Chris's video, he said you freeze the stock all night. The next morning, you put it into the coffee filter and you let it thaw all day. And by that evening, you have consommé. There's what we created in 15 hours. It's not nothing, but I don't know if this is a great use of time. You can see the ice cubes are in there. Some of them have kind of broken down and they've started to become just chunks of ice. So there is stuff happening. But if this is the yield for probably a pint's worth of ice cubes put into there, I don't know if that's a great use of our time. It's not a failure. It clearly does work. But it doesn't happen at the speed I think it should. Either I did something wrong or Chris has a fridge that's somehow much warmer than mine. I have a thermometer in there that's calibrated. It's at somewhere between 38 and 39 degrees almost all the time. Just for argument's sake, and so people don't say I screwed up here, I'm going to take out the paper filter and use just this metal filter with the ice cubes. And let's see if that yields better results. But I'll pour off this little bit into a dish on the side just so we have it and we can taste it. And then we'll go from there. I also want to note that after leaving this out for 10-15 minutes at room temperature, I was able to apply slight pressure to the gelatin ice cubes and get a good stream of this liquid coming out. So it's in there. It just was not coming out in the fridge on its own without a little bit of pressure, which I do find interesting. And because everyone's going to say the filter plus the metal screwed up, here's the filter in the metal filter, also with a bunch of liquid running through it, and you see it works totally fine. All right, so here we are about 8 hours later, and that's all we created. So I think it's pretty safe to say this technique does not yield large amounts of consommé. The interesting thing also is taking a look at the ice cubes. They are kind of melted, but they're just not really becoming straight liquid. All the gelatin in them is really kind of holding them together and stopping them from dripping through. So I don't think it's a filter issue. I think it's just an issue with this technique. I don't know how Chris had such great success with it, but I'm not having it. Let's see what it tastes like, though. All right, so this is the full yield right here from over 24 hours of making consommé. So if you were looking to use the Instant Pot to make like a chicken soup or a very fine broth for elevated dining, whatever you would use a consommé for in your home kitchen, you would need to make so much stock. If this is all you got from a 2-quart stock pot or Instant Pot, you would need to do that 10 times to make a substantial amount for even one person to enjoy. So I don't know how Chris did it, but I don't think this really works. And you've seen the ice cubes, you've seen everything. I've tried a variety of different ways, but all I did was add a little bit of salt to this, and I want to see now what it tastes like to see if it's even worth it in the long run. It's good. It tastes like a good quality cold broth, a very nice bone broth, if anything. I could see what you would use this for. I just don't think the yield you get is worth any of the effort. So, as great as that Instant Pot stock recipe was, I think this is a miss. Chris, if you're seeing this, tell me what I did wrong. I want the advice. I want the feedback. Everyone let me know, but I don't think this is worth any of our times to try to make, candidly.